Well, they were promised. It's like getting a ticket for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and you get there and there's no chocolate. Can you imagine that? And that's exactly what's happened in the Globe theme park, where they were supposed to be giving out, lots of Globe prizes, lots of rockets, miniature rockets, and miniature globes and models. But turns out it's a graveyard. There's just nothing happening in. Now you come to Flatland, Flat World. Now you can just imagine the colours, the excitement. I mean, just listening to me, you can imagine the excitement, like woohoo, really strong. And so people are gathering, as you can see, in their millions. They all want to see what's going on, and there's many different, like you could say, rides. If you want put it that way. Like each flat Earth has a different perspective, a different thrill. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult, guys. I've been saying for the longest time. Now, people would say, why do you talk to those globe earthers? What is the point? You're never going to change their mind. You're never going to change their minds, right? Oh, I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot. Just on the circuit. You're never going to change their mind. Why do you even bother? I'm like, well, spend a lot of time with these guys, working very closely. I have to go through the whole therapy thing, working very closely with these guys who are suffering from not being able to produce evidence for the globe they live on. All right?
This goes on too long.
Sorry?
This goes on too long. I mean, it's a fine idea for like a bit, but it does go on and on, dude.
Don't be rude,
what's going on?
You need to stop this writer's block. Get out there in the field. Get a couple of scripts on. We've got nothing to watch, Veach. There's nothing on the telly, Veach. Nothing on the telly.
I just finished the script.
There's nothing on the TV, Veach.
I'm in vacation mode. I have 6 weeks off.
Excuses. They're always on projects. They're always looking for the next best thing, the next best star, and
yeah, but you can't push yourself too hard. You gotta rest. Genius like mine requires rest.
You just gotta face it that you've been given a leg up,
but don't.
And that leg up can only take you so far, right?
Yeah, but it's gonna have to get me as far as it can get me.
There's got to be a point where you got to do it by yourself. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, if you're not talented, you're just not talented, right?
It's true. That's true. Actually, you know what though? I think anybody who's smart can actually make it in Hollywood. I think.
The idea that it's all about Hollywood and who's it's all about who's how you work your way up there.
What was that noise?
What noise?
Just interrupting me.
Where?
Did you? No. What was? I can't even do it.
It sounded like
what?
A cow.
The way you interrupted me was to make a very weird noise. That's what he's saying.
Me?
A cow got hit.
What noise?
Somebody ran over a cow.
What about?
Are you alright, Timo?
But I'm saying that the idea that you have to have like writing talent be born with it or
whatever.
Okay.
Look,
yeah, that's fucked up, Timo.
We've been lied to, right?
You can't just interrupt people and say boring, man.
Every day. You come in here every day and lie to us. All of you bloody lie to us.
But he's about to go into all the screenwriting and the script and all that.
You've literally been telling us a fantasy story for like 10 minutes now, dude. Like, get a grip.
Boring.
Exactly, Kurt. That's what I'm talking about. Right? You should be
You're
writing
the boring one.
Sci-fi about space and beyond. The next Star Trek. Imagine that. The new Star Trekkers, flat earthers on board, seeing the universe.
Does that make any sense, Timo?
No,
look,
not a good
one. Today's a good day. Head down to Aldi, grab a new pair of brush trainers.
You get a new microphone for a start.
Of ability. How about that? Can you get a box of ability?
How about you get a new microphone?
My microphone's fine.
You think?
Microphone's fine.
So yeah, in pole position, we feel like Formula One drivers.
I'm gonna just share a little bit more on the mic.
We're in pole position. There's just no doubt.
By the way, I did get a new microphone, and it sounded exactly the same. Not the microphone.
Sound abysmal.
So what?
Kelly sounds fantastic.
You're
He got one
abysmal.
of the sexiest
Yeah,
voice
just
of the
stop.
server 2 days ago.
Let's stop here.
So, where were we? Oh, yeah, globe annihilation.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're boring us to death.
Well, yeah, it is. I think it's
Boring.
designed that way. You know, I'm thinking the way that we've been presented the flat Earth, it's designed to grind. I think like it's. I think it's a test to see who can pass the life test. You know, and the way it's been designed, like I said, all we can do is raise awareness. There's nothing more. We're not going to the ice wall. No one's going to the dome. Nothing more. None of that is happening. So the way they've presented it is that we get clues to drive you crazy with, you know? And
Yeah. All right, here's the idea.
What?
Next time Chemo starts doing this, everybody just open your mic, grab your electric razor, and turn it on. Just leave your mic open.
Why? What do you mean?
It's a thought. It's a thought.
Full of ideas, Curve, but it's a shame, you know, that... Okay, let's not go there. So, look, general
The
idea.
shame what?
Yeah, I'm trying not to
Go
be
there.
mean, Kosher. You know, I have to stop one
He
second.
said
But
that was really
the
nice.
chemo-
He's
Yeah,
flipping
that
Chemo,
little
you're
bit
being-
extra. That little bit extra, a
but
little
you're
bit
being-
further. Yes?
You're being mean by dominating the mic like this, by saying these random stories that never end, by calling boring when everyone else starts to talk. It's just rude.
We were talking about
Because
Scott Veach's uncle, man.
it's a real thing, this gatekeeping thing, Veach. You've got to think
Yeah,
about it, right?
you're doing it right now, Chemo. Can you not see that?
If they've lied about the shape of the Earth, and there are people out there revealing that lie, they're going to have to put people in place somehow, some way, to either slow it down...
Talk about that.
What?
So you began that with if. So that
No,
means
in
there's a
your
question
world, in
there
your
apparently in somebody's
your
mind.
world, in your world is if.
What evidence do we have for the lie? Let's talk about that lie. Do something interesting. Back up one of your goddamn claims for once. That would be interesting. I'm
So,
going
for
to eat.
example, they gave us a radius that no one has measured. Who gave us that number? Where did it come from? Just made up.
Gracie Satellite.
Right? So they knew
Crazy
how big
satellite.
the ball was in Universal Studios in the 1930s, 40s. Alright? So how on earth would these people know where to put the countries before even seeing the ball? That's because they already
Oh,
had
back
the
then?
idea.
Back then, they used different methods to figure out the radius.
Different method.
And they confirmed it with a satellite.
Talking about putting the countries in the positions, in the locations that they are. How would they know that it needs to go here, that needs to go there, blah,
It's
blah,
just
blah?
surveying. It's just surveying.
Who did surveying back then?
What do you call them? Not geologists. What do you call them? Geographers.
Go on then, show us.
What do you mean show you?
Show the geographers who measured this ball.
Hey,
Put the country.
You want me to what? You want me to exhume them and show you their bones?
I don't know. You made the claim.
Well, I'm telling you, look, just because somebody tells you something about the past does not obligate them to go dig up bones for you. Like, get a grip.
How can we differentiate between when you're writing a script, telling a story, or telling the truth?
What you could do is you could read some history on your own and you could learn about it yourself.
Research's been done. There's no evidence to support the globe.
But you
How
haven't
do we
done
know
that, though.
when you're telling
You
the
haven't
difference?
done that. But how
can
you
we
haven't
tell
done
the
that,
difference
though? I mean,
between
reasonable.
you telling the story, script, and the truth?
Oh, in my case, the way you know the difference is that it's either written down as a script or I'm talking. If I'm talking to you, then it's real talk.
Yeah. How do we know you haven't just written that down last night?
Well, it could be written down, but if I'm talking, it's real talk.
Yeah. How do you know you're not just reading it now? Your script for a new movie.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm saying it out loud, you know it's real talk.
Yeah, but I'm saying
That's how you know. That's the measure. That's how you know. I would not read the script.
Yeah, but
I'm
we
saying it
can't
out
be
loud,
for sure,
that's how you
can
know.
we? Can't be
Well,
for sure.
you're asking me how to know. I'm telling you how to know.
No, that's not a way to know. That's just
Sure it is.
believing. That's blindly believing in.
If you see a script with my name on it, says like written by
Preacher Veach.
says written by M. Scott Veach.
That'd be
that
funny
is
if he
gonna
was
be-
a preacher.
Oh my gosh!
You'd be called.
You know, you gotta really learn to show the mic.
No,
Dude.
but if you were a Reverend Veach, preacher Veach.
I understand, and I know that you're stacked up to the gills right now. It's clear, but you still have to practice sharing the mic, dude. It's the only reason. Tell him, Globus.
The Globus here? No way. Globes?
It sure is. What's
Going
going on?
on? Long time. You okay?
Globus
Doing great,
believes he's sharing
actually.
the mic, and he thinks that you're not.
What we're
sharing.
doing is we're breaking down the walls of the globe lie here. destroying
Yes,
any
I heard-
ideas of a
I heard
heliocentric
Kima.
idea.
You're doing it quite well. I think personally, you're taking them through the lie, showing them exactly where they've gone wrong. You
Right,
see?
But
right.
he's not sharing the mic enough, right? He's not sharing the mic enough, right?
Look, Veach,
Well, I think
you've got bigger
I thought he was
problems, right?
personally. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
You've got bigger
Okay.
issues than mic sharing. You've got a globe to prove. All right.
exactly.
That's
And where
a
would you
huge
start,
problem. If I was a globe,
Veach?
I'd be like,
It's already been established, guys. It really has.
oh, how am I going to prove this globe? What am I gonna
All
do?
you really need is the pictures from space, the satellite data. I mean, it just tells you everything you need to know.
Satellites.
Satellites,
Show
you
us a
say?
satellite. Show me
Oh,
in
well,
Globus your
Well,
satellite.
go look up Gracie's.
No, if you look up
Design-
that, you'll find the
there's
ice
nothing-
wall, Veach. That link.
Design-
No, that's the ice wall link.
It's designed to do nothing but take measurements.
No, that references the ice wall.
No, Gracie's satellite doesn't reference that. Well,
Yeah, that refers to the ice wall. Do you know anything about satellites?
Gracie's satellite? No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
reference
that's all ice wall stuff.
It's not.
Yeah, go and look it up.
I already did. It's Gracie's satellite. It has nothing to do with ice walls. It measures the radius of the Earth.
No, I've already looked up. It's about the ice wall, the edge.
I promise you're wrong. You just must have got mixed
Well,
up.
go
or
on then,
something.
prove it then. Show me what you mean.
You can look it up again.
I
You'll
did
see.
look it up. It's about the ice wall.
I don't think you did. I think you must have looked up something different. But look up
No, I
Gracie's
looked
satellite.
up that same website, and it's about the ice wall.
Wow. I'm telling you, I think you made a mistake.
What's the name of the website?
Just look up Gracie's satellite on Google.
Gracie Satellite Google. Yeah, that's the ice wall website.
No, it's a different website.
Prove it.
The ice wall website is called Ice Wall website.
Prove it.
I just did.
Well, go on then. Post it. Provide it.
I just proved it. I said the Ice Wall website is called Ice Wall website. Are you going to
But I
refute
just
that?
told you that is the ice wall
You
website.
conceded that. You conceded that to me.
So demonstrate it then.
You already said it concede. You said, yep, that's true. And I was like, okay, that's now locked science. That's settled
Oh
science.
no, yeah. I thought it sounds like ice wall. No, I said that's the ice wall website.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's Ice Wall website, right?
I know they sound the same. Concede ice wall, but no, I said ice wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Totally.
So you do concede, though, that the Ice Wall website is what the Ice Wall website is called, right?
There's an ice wall website. Yeah. So show me the satellite website.
Called
Yeah.
Ice Wall website, right?
Gimo, this is coming from a set of outsiders right now. This conversation where you just say, "Oh, it's an Icewall website" over and over again is about the most boring shit possible.
Well, Veach keeps on saying it's a satellite website.
Well, you're not doing anything to investigate it.
I
Chemo.
have,
You're just
and it's an Icewall
just-
website.
no, Chemo,
Mhm.
don't lie to us. Don't use this as a preach. Share the microphone. Stop being a cunt. I'm going back to what I'm doing.
So can you provide evidence of these satellites then, Veach?
I think we should take our lesson from
Take
Mr.
what?
Peck. I think we should take our lesson.
Take a lesson
Hey,
of what?
Chemo, can we
Yeah, I think he
go
was telling
back
us we were boring the room, and I think he has a good point.
Might we go back
I
to
mean,
the
again, what
conversation
we're
we had
doing
about
is
Scott's
we're
uncle, Chemo?
exposing that satellites,
uncle.
space, measurements,
But we weren't.
curvature,
But you were.
rotation is all fake, Veach.
We were just being silly, and you know it.
Not at all. I'm asking you for evidence of satellites.
I know, but you know there's no Ice Wall website.
But you know there's no satellite website.
There is. It's,
Well,
it's
post
not a
it then. Let's take
website.
a look.
It's the NASA's website.
Let's
It's
take
the
a
NASA
look then.
website.
I have a real question for you, man. Real
Just
question.
link it, Scott.
No way.
Exactly.
Gracie's
Link
satellite.
it,
Google
Scott. Citation.
it. Gracie
cite it.
satellite. 2 words in Google and you'll
Shite
get it.
it.
All you have to type.
Yeah, you guys.
You know I don't go
It's
do your
your
work for you,
proof,
Timo.
Scott.
Stop making up lies and stop
This is
defending
your
a lie.
work,
So
though.
stop asking me to go do it. If you want to
Stop-
learn about
well,
it,
if
just type in
if I
Gracie
stop
satellite.
asking you,
If
when you
don't-
stop
I
defending,
promise you.
lies.
I promise you. If you don't want to learn about it, don't do it. I don't care. It's okay if you don't learn about it.
Yeah, I
Hey,
want to
quick
learn about
question,
it. Let's
Scott.
take a look at it. Let's show post the website.
Gracie satellite.
Yeah, where are the satellites are? Let's have a look.
Yeah, so just type in Gracie satellite in Google if you want to learn about it. If
That
you don't want
is
to learn about it, don't do
That is
that.
the Ice Wall website.
It isn't, I promise.
Yes, it is. Well, show me then.
Well, just go look it up. If you don't want to, it's okay with
I've
me.
looked it up, Veach, and you've given me an
I
Ice
don't
Wall
believe
website.
you, Chemo. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
Okay, that's fine with me. See, what you don't understand is it's okay with me if you don't change your mind. I'm not invested in you having to do this. If you
Why
want
are
to
you
look it up,
lying
though, you
then?
can. I'll give you the information that you need in order to learn the truth, but you have to decide to want it.
Okay, so provide it then.
Okay, Gracie satellite and Google.
Yeah, that is an Ice Wall. How many times should I tell you this?
You can say it over and over, but we both know it's not true.
Right. So how are we going to prove satellites?
Yes. So right, exactly is my point. Coach, you were
Right.
trying to say something.
There's the fucking thing when you type in Grace satellites in Google.
There you
Okay.
go.
Don't
Why
fucking say
anyone
those
did that
words
for?
again,
Yeah, you
please.
click on that link and it takes you to the ice wall.
It's fantastic, dude. Fuck. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, Scott. Who do you think would win in a dogfight? Your dad, your uncle, Buzz Aldrin, or what was it guy's name? Neil Armstrong?
Buzz Aldrin.
I think,
Wow,
Kosher,
dude.
you need to get your head around the fact that you've been lied to. All this derailing and avoidance, okay, is not
Did you
going
pick
to
him because he
help
was in the
you
Navy?
understand
Very telling, isn't it?
that you've been. Yes,
Well,
of course. They're so desperate
punched-
to avoid that they've been lied to and they have nothing to
Indeed.
defend their claims.
He punched that one guy so well. I thought that was pretty intense.
Dude, that doesn't matter in a dogfight, dude.
What's a dogfight exactly?
Oh my god.
Oh, you mean a plane dogfight? You mean a fighter pilot?
No, dude, just these guys are gonna be playing fucking video games. These are 4 of the best pilots in the world, right? Ever.
Oh,
What are talking
you know
about,
what?
dude?
You know what? I don't know who would win, but I know that my dad did win something called the Golden Arrow one year, which is the Air Force's dogfighting competition or whatever. He always played it down, but I always thought it was a big
I don't know
deal.
what this is. We're in the
It's
middle of
fantastic.
a
He would've
flat
been the
earth
best Air
discussion
Force
here, and
pilot.
Kosho decides to talk about dogs. Are you kidding, Kosho?
I'm talking about real
I think you have to be
pilots.
kidding,
Cruise.
Kosho. This has to
Tom
be a joke,
Cruise,
Kosho.
Bob
We're in the middle of discussing whether there's evidence
Keep up.
for a globe, and you decide, you know what? I don't want to hear about that. I want to talk about dogs.
You're right, man. Hey, Scott, your uncle, though, was also a
So,
Navy
Kosho, the idea is that we're
Yeah, sure.
looking for the evidence for the
Navy test pilot
heliocentric
as well. I think
model.
all 4
So
of
if we
them
can
were Navy
find
were
that and
test
talk
pilots.
about it and present it, that would be fantastic. But I don't think the audience are here to listen to you talk about dogs, girls, and your personal life.
Or Tom
Definitely
Cruise.
not.
So let's keep the personal life to one side. If you want to talk to Veach about dogs, there are plenty of rooms that we made available for such kinds of discussions. So we can get back to the most important thing, which is there evidence for a globe?
We keep
Exactly.
telling you, but you won't listen.
Okay, let's get into it. I'm ready. Are you ready? Of course we're ready. So, what is that evidence for the heliocentric model, Renee? No, that's not Renee. That's Tom. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, great. So what about your Kosho? What were you saying?
Kosher's not saying anything. He wants to socialise
Yes, he
and
was. I
derail
was
the
listening to him.
subject about the heliocentric model because he's failing. And when you're a failure in this life, you have a few options. You either wither
No,
away.
Kimo, everybody's
or you
just tired
find
of telling you
something
the
else to
same
do.
thing over
Should
and
I write that in
over
your
and over again.
autobiography?
So, Kosher, you're
Hey,
just
Kimo.
withering away here. You're wasting
Kimo,
whatever it is,
don't
whatever
get me
gifts you were
confused with your
given
cock,
in this
Kimo.
life to
Hey,
do whatever you got to do. Okay,
Yeah,
you're
go
think
ahead.
about what you're doing.
Kimo,
You're talking
Kimo,
about
who do
dogs
you think would
in a
win in that
flat
dogfight?
Earth room. Think about that. Dogs.
Who do you think would win in that dogfight, Kimo?
See what I mean?
Hey, your dad was in the military too, wasn't he, Kimo?
You are suffering, Kosho.
He even thinks that you're talking about a dog.
You are struggling to come to terms with this, Kosho. This is why I'm here, Kosho, to help you get your head around the fact that you've been lied to. You see? Now, if it wasn't for me and
It's
the
like a
others,
contradiction. It's like a
and a couple of
paradox
us
when you're the
flat
one who's
earthers
supposed to be
telling you
lied
about the
to,
globe lie,
but you're also the one
you've been
lied
none the
to.
wiser.
We,
Now, you
yeah,
spent
we-
all
we
morning
get
in
it.
Brandon's, you've had your little fix, so you think, okay, I'm good to go. But there are still questions to be asked, Kosho, right? And we're still asking those questions. We want to know, has anyone measured curvature?
And Mr. Reality's here, man. We haven't seen him in a while. What's going on, Mr. Reality?
Yeah, we spoke to Mr. Reality. He's been bringing up some good points. But right now, Kosho, if you're talking, you're wanting to be active. Who has
My
made the
God.
measurement of curvature of this globe?
Did we tell you before?
Well, let's hear it. Who?
I measured your mom's ass last night.
What about the globe?
No.
Has that been measured?
Jesus Christ, Kosha.
Has that been measured, Kosho?
Your mom's ass, apparently.
What about
Took
the
me 6
globe?
hours.
Has that been measured?
You know it has.
Your
them.
mom's
Why do you
ass
ask
is big as
me
a
that?
door.
The Earth used to be a globe, but then Chemo's mom sat down. Now it's flat.
And what's your independent variable?
Don't be dumb. It's a measurement, not an experiment.
Well, what was the measurement?
What do you mean, what's the measurement? The radius of the Earth.
Yeah, what was the measurement that was made?
marijuana trench cross.
They look at it and then use techniques to figure out how big it is.
Okay, so how big is it?
3969 miles, I think.
3959.
Where did you pull that number out from?
3959.
The fuck?
That's what they measured.
Where did you get that from?
That's what they measured. They reported it.
Who's
Can I
they?
ask you guys?
Who is
a
they?
question about rockets?
Who is they?
Which was?
These
The people that
say
measure
they
it.
are?
Go nowhere, man.
Be more specific, Veach.
I told you, Gray Satellite.
Satellite. Can you show these satellites?
Jesus.
Yes, Kosho already said it to you. What were you saying, Kosho?
I was
No,
wondering.
you said
we were
you were
talking
going to
about
post
9/11
these
last
satellites
night.
making measurements. We're looking for
Okay.
measurements. So
Yeah,
how do
we
satellites?
showed you in
How are these satellites making measurements?
the obvious way. They have like infrared and lidar and other techniques that they can use to measure the size of things.
How do you know all of this?
Because it says it on that website that Kosho linked for you.
Kimo, can
But you just
give it
read
a
about it.
second,
You read a
Kimo?
book and you believed it. Why?
Because it was trustworthy.
How is
Kimo,
it trustworthy?
Kimo,
what have they
can
done
you
that's
just wait a
trustworthy?
second, Kimo? We
Is
have
there
a-
not
What have they
you?
done that you've repeated that's trustworthy?
But don't forget, it confirms all the other ways that we have of knowing it, including other competing space agencies, including historical methods, including current modern day geodetic surveying. So if all these methods are agreeing with each other, they're all done independently, well, that's already pretty good evidence. Moreover, it was published in a prestigious journal that has credibility, and that gives it a ton of believability.
So all of it is based on the belief then. You don't have evidence of it actually being real.
Exactly.
What do you mean? It is evidence of it being real.
You just said, I believe.
Yeah.
Kosho, stop interrupting. Can't get a
Can I
word
ask
out.
a real
Every minute
question,
you're
man?
over talking. Stop.
My God, you really need to calm down, Chemo.
So,
Yeah,
V,
Kimo, you
you're
are a
saying
little bit out of
that,
control.
Get to your question, Kimo. Somebody
It's
else can
not.
ask
You're
It's
you.
saying
doing
that,
fine, guys.
you're saying that these satellites are taking measurement. Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's have a look at satellites taking measurements. Or do you just believe
I told you
You
how to
already
find
know
it.
that, Kimo.
Grace Satellite.
Yeah, let's take it a step further. You read about it, now let's look at the practicality of it.
Everybody's
So
told
you got to
a
look at the
thousand
website
times.
first.
What? You haven't got that far?
You have to look at the website first.
No, you've looked at the website, yeah? You've read it.
I know, but you need to catch up.
But did you watch any of this happen, or did you just read it and believe it?
Well, you won't really be able to understand the answer to any of that until you start by reading the website.
Yeah, but did you take it further? Did you do any
I don't
demonstrations,
want to get
or
it.
did you read on?
If you try to run ahead too fast, Kimo, you're going to confuse yourself. What we need to do is get you the foundations and the fundamentals first, and that means you need to read about Gray Satellite.
Yeah,
Once
but
you have
I'm not-
that under your belt, then I think
Mhm.
you're ready to understand the advanced stuff. Like, did we look at it?
Yeah, but it's not my claim. I'm not a glober, so you should have done this. What was the next step after you read about it?
I
You
don't-
just told
honestly,
me you read
I don't-
about it, so you went as far as telling me you read
You-
about it, but you're not
mistake-
telling me about the next step. What's the point of that?
The mistake you make, Kimo, over and over is that you think that I care whether you believe me or not. If you don't want to believe me, don't believe me. It's okay with me. Coach,
No,
I got
I
a question for
believe
you, though.
you. I believe that you read the paper or read the book or the article. You read about it.
Kimo, I'm not trying. See, your whole thing depends upon me trying to convince you of something, and I'm
No,
not trying to
convince
convince you of
me.
anything. I'll give you the information if you want it. If you ask for it, I'll offer it. But if you don't want to take it, that's up to you.
I'm just
Now, let's let Kosho get a chance on the mic to ask his question.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out your foundation, because you argue this a lot. So if your foundation is, oh,
Kimo,
I
you're
read
talking too
about
much.
it, then that's not evidence, because you read a book
Well, it's all
on
kinds- it's
satellites.
all
That's not
kinds of stuff.
measurements
All kinds
of the Earth.
It's all
because-
kinds of stuff, Kimo.
So because you say you read about measurements doesn't mean they're measurements.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
trying
all
to
kinds
get
of
a
stuff,
numpty
okay.
clip.
Hey, Chemo. I got a question.
Okay.
All right. A couple years ago, there was no such thing as a Starlink train. Didn't occur. Didn't exist. Everyone's looking at the sky. No Starlink trains.
Yeah.
Then we see the launch of SpaceX vehicle, the deployment of 60 satellites. A couple hours later, we see trains.
Okay.
And with every launch after that, a new Starlink train. You said you've seen the Starlink train, which is a train, which makes it a positive ID, not some nondescript point, because they're a train. You identified it correctly as a Starlink train. Now, these did exist. We have video of the launching and deployment and worldwide observation of that within an hour. Within an hour. Because they orbit every hour and a half.
Yeah,
including things. So if you want evidence, that's about as good as it fucking gets. Now that is sufficiently documented by so many people. You're gonna have to take an active role, and not just dismiss it and say, "Show me," because that's a current event. That's a current event. Everybody, many people, many thousands of people see a Starlink train appear in the night sky within hours of a Starlink launch. So there's a positive identification, and you've seen them, and you describe them as a Starlink train. So how is that not cause and effect and proof? And then, of course, there's the laser ranging surface, where there's an international company that monitors satellites by measuring their distances and tracking with lasers. So there's more actual, tangible, physical evidence. So you're going to have to do more than hand wave and say, show me, show me, show me, balls in your court. Balls in your fucking court.
No, I'm not denying Starlink or anything like that. What I'm denying is that Starlink is making measurements, physical, practical measurements of the Earth. That's the claim here, that satellites are measuring curvature. Now, we know, obviously, whether they've got up there, balloons or drones or whatever it is that they've got, whatever technologies they've got.
Satellites.
That technology is not... That technology is not...
Not all satellites are tasked with making measurements of the shape of the Earth, but all satellites are in a precision orbit, and that orbit is confirmed by the satellite being exactly where it needs to be every predictable second of every single day of every single year. And yeah, many satellites are tasked with measuring the shape of the Earth, but the existence of every satellite is confirmation thereof. And you just said, you're not questioning Starlink. There you go, folks. He just said Starlink satellites are, in fact, satellites. And we have seen polar orbiting.
Yeah, they didn't seem that high in the sky. You know, it wasn't that big of a deal. I saw them clearly. You know, it's no big deal. They're not satellites. They're some kind of technology device. Not that big of a deal. They didn't go around curvature.
Yeah, they're called satellites.
Not that big of a deal. No, they're not satellites, no.
Yes, they are satellites.
In your court, you're going to have to come up with more than just an assertion. Because it was taped, which everyone wants videotape. Okay, it's videotaped. And now that's somehow not good enough. And the fact that they traversed the entire sky in that short amount of time, if they were low, they'd be doing fucking Mach 5. But they're not. They're high, where they're only doing like 17,000 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh, that'd be silly. Wasn't going that fast. Wasn't even that high.
They'd actually be doing closer to. They'd actually be doing closer to Mach 20.
Yeah.
You said they weren't even that high. That means what? You made a measurement, or is that just a look-like assertion? Well,
Yeah,
a look assertion
like,
don't.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was that high in space.
Even you insist on measurement. So you just say don't look that high means nothing in an evidentiary argument where you say. They weren't that high. Well, did you measure it? Did you
You
make any
can't
attempt?
see satellites usually, can you? From just looking.
Not usually, but a Starlink train had the unusual characteristic of being identifiable because you can see low Earth orbiting satellites, but since they're by themselves, they're lost in the background because they're like magnitude 4. But the train became a positive ID.
Anyway, Larry, we're looking for the satellite that made measurements of curvature.
Okay, you can look at those as well, but the fact that satellites orbit, that's the point.
Yeah, no big deal. Can work on a flat Earth.
Oh, there you go. No big deal. They orbit. Great.
No, it works on a flat Earth.
No.
How figure? Because you see them. You even commented they appear to be going in a pretty straight line. How are they going to circle over the disk if they're going in a straight line? Well, that's because they're going straight around the Earth in a great circle route.
No, they're not.
That's an assertion on your part. We provided plenty of evidence. The ball's in your court. You're going to have to do more than just say, not good enough. No, not good enough. No.
Well, like I said, down
The
here,
globe is in your court.
down here on the Earth, there's no measurable curvature. That debunks any sky curvature taking place.
But that's only because you just insist that it's not measurable, and it has been measured, and you just go, no, not good enough for me. Show me.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it's not showing what we want to see, then of course not. Yeah, we can't accept it.
No, chemo. What you don't understand is you've just set up the thing. You've just set it up to where you can set up any arbitrary barrier as high as you want to, and that will be what is necessary for anything to be provable. Your personal credulity is not the measure for which reality is judged by. You can't set things up that way.
Why didn't they have a camera on the front and on the first one and the one at the behind, looking down at the Earth?
What?
What
camera,
are you talking
camera,
about?
camera
That has
on the
nothing to
satellite.
do. That is a complete red herring to what just occurred.
Why don't they have cameras on the satellites these days? That would be a normal thing.
Why would that be normal?
A lot of satellites do have cameras. Not
Go on.
all, but
Go on, then.
Don't chase him down
I mean,
on this.
why
Just-
wouldn't they? Satellites take photographs, don't they? Duh. And look at the Earth, duh.
Not all of them take photographs, Chemo.
Yeah,
You
so
know
why
that.
aren't the ones you're talking about showing us the other satellites with their cameras?
Chemo, that's like saying why isn't every ship seeing every other ship on the ocean?
Yeah, it come across at least one.
The ghost
ships have telephones connecting each ship.
We got the GOES satellites, the GOES, Geostationary Earth Orbiting Satellite System. And in case. Now, you said, why don't they put cameras on satellites? Well, there's satellites with cameras. So I don't know what you're talking
Where? Which
about.
one? Which one?
You say they don't do that, and yet we have pictures of them doing that.
The ISS.
What's wrong with
you talking about the ISS?
ISS.
No, I said yes, the GOES, Geostationary Earth Orbiting Satellite. Earth observation.
Where is it? Go on and post the link. Let's have a look.
It's a 4 times further than
Again?
2 million miles away.
A geostationary Earth observation satellite.
You can see the Earth, yeah, from this satellite.
Kimo,
why do you want to post
it?
it
Go to
again?
the site and read it.
Can you see the Earth from this satellite or not?
They've been an array of them up for many years.
All right, let's have a look at this Earth satellite showing Earth.
Find them.
So there you go. You said, why don't they put a camera on the satellite photographing Earth? And this is one example of decades old. As well as we could go to Himawari and discover, of course, those are there too.
You know, like a balloon. Why aren't they done in the same fashion as a balloon? You put a camera on a balloon, you watch whatever you watch. Put it on a satellite, you watch whatever you watch. Why don't they do that?
Because balloons have a service ceiling.
What?
Balloons don't get very fucking high. They don't get very high, and they're subject to wind, whereas a geostationary orbit is absolutely stationary relative to the rotation of the Earth, as they both rotate at the same period.
Yeah, but I'm saying on a balloon, it's just standard. Put a camera on a high altitude balloon, that's just standard. But when it comes to satellites, that's not standard.
Because satellites have jobs. Satellites have jobs, okay? Why doesn't every bicycle have collision avoidance radar, right? Because it's a bicycle, right? It's not. They don't put cameras on every satellite because
Is he breaking up for anyone else?
That's not it.
Right?
Yeah, he's
That's
breaking up.
Okay, not every satellite's job is to take images, and so since it costs thousands and thousands of dollars for every 10 grams of matter you put on a satellite, they prioritize for tasks, specific tasks.
They're supposed to be doing things for us to look at. We're supposed to see the Earth. They are supposed to do it not for flat earthers, but for humans, mankind. Yeah. Take many, many pictures from different angles, different positions. I mean, this just doesn't happen. Why?
Yeah, because they do have satellites specifically tasked for that. The Earth observation satellite and the EPIC satellite absolutely tasked for that. The Himawari absolutely tasked for that. Now, other satellites that are tasked with communication, yeah, why would you put a camera that takes up resource if its task is communication? So you don't.
I mean, you broke up the entire way there. I mean, I couldn't understand. Go refresh or something. Do a bit of refreshing.
These stupid arguments, why don't we use balloons and stuff? It's like, because we have a different job to accomplish. Why don't you take a ship, a sailing ship to England from New York? Instead, you take a plane. You take a plane,
what?
And it's faster and it meets your objective better.
What you want about? I'm talking about looking at the Earth from the satellite.
Yes.
When anyone's in a plane, they whip out the phone and look at the Earth. Now, obviously, if they went higher, they want to whip out the camera and see more. That's norms.
No, that's not norm. That's not norm at all. Because the simple fact is they use an altimeter on a plane.
No,
or the other actual measuring devices.
I'm on about the passengers. Look out the window.
Well, the passenger would actually look at the displays on the plane
that have the readouts of all these other measuring devices.
Yeah, they look at the screen to see what they can see, right? They want to see stuff. That's what we're like. We just like to look. We want to see the ball or the curvature. We just want to see it just because. But nobody's showing us the real curvature from a satellite or rocket or anything like that. That's a problem.
No, you're trying to force it to be a problem and blatantly ignoring massive
Asses.
Massive what?
measurements that actually do show it.
Measurements.
I had a
No,
question
no
about
one's made
forces.
any measurement of the Earth. It's all been calculated.
A
You
question
know
about
that
calculation about a force.
Remember,
Sorry.
if the Earth is 3959, then the Sun will be this far, the Moon is this far, and this is how the cosmos works. That's a calculation, no actual practical measurement.
Those are measurements and calculations, but that's an irrelevant thing to argue because you're going to persistently argue the opposites. I have a question about forces, and you can answer, Chemo. I just don't understand something. I was doing a calculation because we were talking about 9/11 last night about the plane hitting the building, and I had calculated that the momentum, given the mass of an average plane or something, and the velocity of this specific plane, so I got like 42 million. Whoever yawned just messed me up, man. But 42 million something, okay. I think meters. I don't know. It's something. Let's just call it kilograms per something. Anyways, and then when I saw that, how do you calculate like the force? It depends how many seconds it collided into a building. So if you just make it 1 second, then it was 42 million newtons. All right, and I compared that to something, and that's almost comparable with the initial thrust of the Saturn V. Okay, so I'm just curious, because I'm trying to just get my head around 42 million newtons. How would you think about that if you're thinking about the interaction on the building, like the collision with the building, with that thrust? If that makes sense. With that thrust, yeah, with that
what
impact.
You said.
Say again, Chemo? I was asking the room, but you can answer for that, Chemo.
Okay. Room, Coach is asking you about
9/11, but most importantly, forces.
Forces.
That's right. Yes. And what 42 million newtons? I'm trying to find out a way to really find an intuition for what 42 million newtons would be. And like I said, it's comparable to the initial thrust in a Saturn V. But that initial thrust, I can't really describe that in like an impact sort of way. Any thoughts?
Oh gosh, Kosho.
You win, Chemo.
Nonsensical questions in the midst of exposing. I mean, what's going on? You seriously find it
I'm
that
asking
hard
nonsensical
to
questions?
Oh,
you asked like 15, 25 nonsensical questions, man. I asked one sensible question.
You do that, Hugo. You ask it over and over and over, and then none of them make any sense.
Look, we have information that the globe is not what they've told us. Because as we understand it, information we've gathered is that no one has made any measurement.
Kosho asks one sensible question, and then you throw a fit. That's not fair. That's not even remotely
What is he asking about fantasy and stuff?
I'm sorry, Chemo. You can't ask 15 questions that are silly and then get mad when somebody asks one question that is serious.
I mean, again, this is why I'm working very close, because the difficulty must be... I mean, the thing's going inside your head, absolute nightmare, agony. And you're looking for any kind of comfort blanket. It's not going to go away, guys. It's here to stay. It's here to expand. And it's right in your face. Like, it's right up there. Like, hey, Earth is not a globe. No,
You know, I miss the good old days, Chemo, when you used to come in with evidence of something stupid and, you know, we would just talk about it, but you're not saying anything, man.
A lot of pushback, Kosho. I get it. A lot of pushback.
You're not saying anything, man. You're not saying
If
anything.
I was in your shoes,
it's a long
I would do the
conversation.
same. I would do the same.
It's just rhetoric. It's empty rhetoric.
I mean, again, it's just coming to terms with the fact that we've been lied to about the shape of the Earth.
Fantastic. Let's play a game. It's called See If You Can't Repeat Yourself. So try to just talk about whatever you want, Chemo, for the rest of the day, but don't repeat yourself for the rest of the day, and see if you can do that.
I've got a better game. That's called practical demonstrations. So can we practically demonstrate the Earth is spinning? How about that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any curvature of not curvature? Sorry, any rotation?
There's a gyroscope in New Zealand.
How does that work then? Walk me
University
through
of
the
New Zealand.
gyroscope. What's the mechanics? Who built it? When did it come
that's
from?
easy.
General
University
idea.
of New Zealand.
Give me the general idea. Give me the gist, the breakdown.
That's
Give me the full
easy.
details.
It's a ring laser gyroscope based on the world.
How'd you build one?
Hey,
Do you
what
know
was
how
your
to build
question
one?
again, Kosho?
What? I want to know everything. I want all the juicy
Kosho's
details
question
on
was,
this.
Blue Marble Science is
on
here.
this
Actually, I need
gyro.
to talk to him. It's very important.
There's a lot of people out there, Coach,
Yeah.
who are like gyro.
I think you filibustered long enough, haven't you, Kima?
Well, we're talking about gyros, but go on, make your point.
No, we're not. We're talking about Kosho's question.
Are you about the one about 9/11? The force or
No,
whatever?
Coach, you said the gyro proves rotation.
Chemo, stop talking. Kosho, could you please restate your question? Because I didn't hear it.
Oh, sorry. It was just simply, I'll just say in simple words, I was trying to calculate the force, estimated force of a plane hitting the building on 9/11. What I came up with is if the impact took a second, it would take, that would be about 42 million newtons of force. And I compared that, that's a comparable force to like the Saturn V launching, the initial launch. But anyways, I'm trying to get an intuition for the force's impact, right? Because I can imagine the Saturn V launching, but I'm just trying to imagine the force of an impact like that.
Typical globe gatekeeping. These guys can seriously not
Do you have
handle
all the
losing
masses
globe.
that are,
Pain.
for example, the plane? How
The suffering.
was the weight of the plane?
Listen to these.
Yeah, I just use an estimate. I mean, I use a simple estimate. I think it was a fair one.
Desperately trying to avoid the fact that they have no evidence whatsoever. They're all so stupid.
It's a huge number.
Yeah, we'll get back into it shortly, guys.
What
Just like the live stream, as it were, so you can only hear me. They can't hear me. You guys can hear me. But yeah,
And the heat, it was frontal, it was perpendicular, or it
I'm
was
gonna keep beating
a
that
little
hammer,
bit of
beating that
ricochet on
drum.
the heat.
Focus.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna
it went
dedicate
straight into the
these
side of the
questions to everyone who wants to know, who wants answers. Right? If you want answers, I'm going to ask those questions.
I didn't do the calculations, but
let's listen a little bit and
if
see
you have
where it
42
goes,
million,
and get
really
back into the
know.
conversation as soon as.
I have
Yeah, I
to
think I had
recalculate
187,000 kilometer or kilograms and 500 miles per hour.
Let me figure it out.
Just a simple question. I did need to say something to Blue Marble. I don't. Did you read your I sent you a DM. There was a very horrible stuff happened on Nathan's show yesterday.
What happened?
Well, but they brought up Blue Marble Science, and he was a friend of mine, and so I was trying to defend him a little bit. It was very simple defense. I thought it would not persist. Of course, it always persists. And Nathan, even though I agreed with you, Blue Marble Science, because I defended what they were claiming you said, Nathan wants to moderate a debate with me and you because he thinks that I am disagreeing with you.
Okay, what he thinks.
What the? Yeah. Good point.
Well, it's probably over now, but he was wanting you to come on the show yesterday. Do you remember?
He
saying,
stands a better chance. Nathan stands a better chance of getting the angels to fly out of his ass than he does getting me to come on his fucking show. And if you're listening, Nathan, you can quote me on that.
Like, he deserves no credibility at all. Like, there's just no reason.
Look, this is a bit of a circle twerk, guys. There's no challenge here. You guys are socializing. There don't seem to be a debate going on.
Jerk. Circle jerk.
What was Nathan saying? We're
being a child.
Disagreeing about.
Well, you know, there doesn't seem to be any challenge here. You guys are like having the easy road, and there's a challenger here, and I'm ready to challenge any idea
end the conversation,
of a heliocentric model. And Kosho, again, you know, you like games, girls, gambling, all of these equations.
Kosho, Kimo, you really are. You're getting a little bit crazy.
Well, the idea was it was quiet. I came in, started a discussion, and it seems that to me, when the discussion is started by myself here, you or Kosho make every attempt to derail, stop it, avoid it, and change the subject. I mean, it's very odd, very strange.
Kimo, it's a room full of people. You have monologued for hours now. You have had plenty of mic time. It's time to share the mic, dude.
Yes, we are. One is.
Yes, okay, so share the mic.
I am. I'm asking you about the globe. I'm saying, do you have any globe evidence?
Kimo, stop trying to run everything. Just relax.
I'm not running everything. I'm asking you questions. Do you have globe evidence?
I'm trying to update Blue Marble very quickly. I was in the middle of doing that.
That's what I mean. If you want these private one-on-one, I mean, the whole room is
Kimo, you have no right to act like this. You just don't have this right. Stop,
but I'm saying, why did you tie up the whole room
talking about... no one likes you. Quiet.
It's about raising awareness.
Can somebody mute Kimo, please?
Then go on the outside.
He's a mod.
Go on the public streets.
Can you get back to
we're in the middle of a flat Earth discussion.
Kimo, you've run a lot of hours. You weren't in the middle of a conversation. They're totally naturally and organically having this conversation. Just relax. You can get back to what you want to talk about.
Larry was making some points. I wanted to respond to him, and now all of a sudden we're talking about something completely off topic.
Kimo, it's not about you. It's not about you.
No, it's about the response to the globe earther that
yes,
Larry
it'll survive another day. Just relax, dude. Just enough.
Larry was saying that satellites are out there making measurements. I mean, we can challenge that. There's a rebuttal here on the table. I mean, how can we let those things go unchallenged, right? Otherwise, people will think, oh yeah, there are satellites up in a place that doesn't exist. Right?
Good question.
Crying, Kimo.
Good question,
We're saying here, guys.
Kimo, good question. You can't just keep going though.
Let's get the answer.
I'm going to finish what I'm saying to Blue Marble though, and that's
So your intention is just to.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. So I didn't see those DMs until just now. Okay.
Yeah. So what he had asked, what he said, they were just talking about you, and they said that Blue Marble. He claims that Coriolis can only be viewed from, or Coriolis only. Actually, he said it very vaguely, but I know what he meant. So the gist of what he was trying to say was that you said that Coriolis is only there's only one reference frame that's relevant to Coriolis.
That's right.
It's only including one reference frame. And I remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely correct. 100%.
Exactly.
No, it's not correct. This is the whole point. Yous are not
You're
correct.
An idiot. Shut
you
up.
Sit there, circle twerking. Yes, we're right. Yes, I'm right. Am I right? Yes, you're right. Are you right? Yes, you're right.
Kimo, you don't have a right to do this, man.
I'm gonna go to Jim Pano.
Are we supposed to sit here while you go, yes, you're right. When we're here to challenge the globe lie. Have you forgotten that?
Kimo, you get on the mic, and you tell stories. You tell made-up stories involving fantasy events for literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes about, like, the Globe amusement park that you'll make up as you go. Like, you do ridiculous shit on the mic for 20 minutes. You can share it, okay? It's not going to be the end of the world for them to have this mini conversation. It just isn't.
Which is what is absolutely happening. You're saying your bit is challenging, but
Coach
isn't interrupting me every time I start to speak. So this is part of the problem. We've got a challenger here. You're complaining about there are not enough flat earthers. That's down to you reach in the first place, as we well know.
Kimo,
and
you know what happens is
you're making claims you and Kosho are saying, yes, we agree with one another. Well, what was the point of that? Go into a room and say, yes, we agree with one another. We don't need to hear how you agree with one another.
For 20 minutes. What is the point of you doing the amusement park story for 20 minutes? You're just monologuing for no good reason, and we tolerate it because we're nice people. It's your turn to be nice.
Explaining what the situation was like. Because it was quiet. That was the point of that.
I'm telling you that you have
now it's not quiet. Now we have active globe earthers. We've got an active flat earther.
Let me finish what he's saying. He's just saying random shit.
Okay, so let's look at rotation.
Right now,
what is the evidence for the Earth spinning, moving, flying through space?
He has questions, Kosho. He's not even going to say. He just wants you to answer questions.
Coriolis is the evidence.
Coriolis.
All right, so now we're
break
going
it
to talk
down
about
for me
Coriolis.
Coriolis.
I'm going to explain. Now, Kosho and I are going to talk about Coriolis, and you can learn something if you will shut up.
Let's hear it from the start. How Coriolis proves the Earth is spinning.
Yeah. So Nathan said that I said that Coriolis only occurs in the non-inertial rotating frame of reference. Is that what he said, Kosho?
No. This is what I told him that you meant, because I remember having this conversation. So I tried to clear that up. But what he did, because you know how he does it, he was saying it in the most plain, simple way to make it sound like you were saying something stupid. And he was saying that something like you said that Coriolis only exists in one reference frame, or so something like that. But actually, much less words than that even. Yeah. I cleared it. I cleared up. I said that it's described as being used for a rotating reference frame.
Yes, Blue. Yes, Kosho. Yes. We agree.
Yes. Shut up.
Yes.
Here's the deal. Coriolis occurs when an object moves in a non-inertial.
Yeah, that's presupposing, Blue, the Earth is turning. How do we know the Earth is turning?
Up, Chemo. That's not presupposing a fucking thing. It's Coriolis. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about the Earth or anything else that's rotating.
No, but we're talking about firing a bullet, right? You fire a bullet.
Rotating frame of reference experiences a Coriolis force. It does not require a second reference frame. No other reference frame is going to make any difference.
You're missing the point here. I'm trying to ask you, how do we know
the frame of reference? Period. The only reason, and Nathan Oakley has no idea what a reference frame is, nor do you, Chemo.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. I'm not professing to be wise. I'm asking you to explain from the start.
Chemo. You want to get in the conversation? Get in it. What is a frame of reference? Go.
Explain it all. I'm asking. It's not my claim.
Who?
I haven't claimed any of these things. You're claiming Coriolis proves the Earth is turning. Explain non-inertial reference frames, inertial reference frames.
And Chemo, stay out of the conversation if you don't know.
No, we're challenging the lie that the Earth is turning. Now, I don't have to know any of this stuff. You have to prove that this is an actual fact.
No, Chemo, what you're doing right now is you're claiming the spot of ultimate ignorance and bogging down every conversation to be nothing except for a set of fucking fetch quests for you. Stop it. It is not
we're trying to find out who's been lied to,
conversation.
Brian. Yeah, well, we're trying to find out if we've been lied to about the shape of the Earth.
You're not trying to find out anything. You're trying to send people repeatedly on a fetch quest. Stop it.
If they make wild... I don't know why people do this. Why make a wild claim that you cannot back up? Coriolis, how are you going to prove that? What's the frame of reference? Non-inertial explain all of that from the very start, from the get-go, and explain how that proves Earth is turning.
You must stop and listen for a second. You were asked a direct question. Your response to it was, please teach me the most basic fundamentals. Go. That is not a conversation.
No, you tell me how that proves Earth turn.
You were asked a question. Yeah. Your response was, please spoon feed me. Stop it, Kimo.
Stop asking me questions then, and tell me how that proves Earth turn.
Stop interjecting in the conversation. You really are just derailing it. Come on, man.
Well, we're talking about evidence of the globe being, if you forgot.
Just stop and think about how mad you'd be if I was doing this to you when you were talking to flat Earth or something. You would be livid. Now, we're being cool. We're not reacting the way you would react, but just recognize that you would be very angry.
Well, what we're doing is we're looking for the evidence that the Earth
what you're doing
is what we
being
were told.
selfish and obnoxious.
It's
really
very difficult for you to accept that you would lie to, but we've got to do the investigations.
Let Blue's going to explain now.
Right, explain Blue, all the time, from the top to the bottom, Coriolis,
you want some direct evidence? Dihydrogen monoxide's got a great one for you. Mechanical gyro compasses could not work without on a stationary.
Right, explain the gyro from the top to bottom.
It possibly work.
How is it built? When it goes into its thing, what does it do, and how does it move?
I'm not talking about, listen, had enough of you.
See, no one knows anything. People just make things up.
Chemo, stop asking questions and then talking over the fucking answer.
Well, I'm listening. What does the gyro do?
You're not listening. You're talking.
Your fucking mouth is wrong.
Okay. Mechanical gyro compass lines its axis up with the axis of rotation of the Earth. That's how it works. Works on the basis of precession. Because as it turns, the Earth turns, puts a torque spin on the spin axis of the gyro. It has to line itself up with the rotation axis, or it will continue to precess. Is that close enough for you, Chemo?
Okay, so huge errors and problems. You introduced
no idea what
a
I fucking said.
presupposition.
I couldn't
You said
teach it
as
to
the
you
Earth turns, as the axis turns, all these things. When you haven't proven that that's the case.
I don't need to go through all of that. We're talking about we were talking about Coriolis. We're having a good conversation.
No, you introduced
Problem
Earth
is,
turn
Nathan
as
Oakley, just like Chemo, does not know what a frame of reference
when we're
is.
trying to prove that very premise.
Leave one frame of reference and go into another one. He cannot get his head around the concept. The frame of that everything is in every frame of reference all the time. Take one sentence that came out of that they get out of their Wikipedia crap. They take one sentence out of that and the mention of an inertial reference frame, which is only to establish that you have a non-inertial rotating frame. Take that to mean that you have to have two reference frames. You don't have to. You only have to have one that you're certain is a rotating non-inertial frame of reference. That's all. Mm-hmm. Once you have that, any object moving in that non-inertial rotating frame of reference is going to experience, has to experience, Coriolis force, period.
Again, the issues there, Blue, come in the presuppositions, the assumptions.
There's no presupposition in that, Chemo. That's a proven fact.
Well, if you've got a device, you're saying the cause is the Earth turn, right?
No, that's actually not what the original guy who actually discovered Coriolis effect was studying.
Okay.
Are we discussing Coriolis effect, or are we discussing gyro compasses at the moment? That's going to confuse the situation.
It's confusing. We're trying to figure out if the Earth is turning. His gyroscope says he proves the Earth is turning. So, how does it when we're already presupposing the Earth is turning?
Can I say something to Blue very quickly?
Yes, the Earth is turning. That's an established fact.
Yes, Kosho, he agrees. Yes, you're right. Yes, man.
I'm not asking him if he agrees, dude. Calm down. Blue, I just wanted to because they asked me like 20 times and I repeated the same thing 20 times, but they asked me for my definition of Coriolis force or Coriolis effect, and I simply said Coriolis effect occurs when an object is moving across is moving in reference to a rotating body as viewed from the rotating reference frame. Would that be that would suffice for exactly that, right? Because you're still just talking about that one reference frame.
Yes, that's right, Coach. You're correct.
Yes, what? I didn't hear what my internet dropped out for a second. Say it again, Coach.
Very, very few words. An object moving across a rotating body as viewed from the rotating reference frame. That was the definition I gave when he asked me 20 times for Coriolis effect.
Yeah, that's right.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's right, Kosho. Yes.
Chemo, who is it? Did you get bad news? Are you being evicted? What is causing this extra stress that you have decided to unload at us today?
Oh, not me come across like that.
Oh, well, you gotta fucking stop doing it then, because you were literally just badgering the whole goddamn room. You were being a rude, obnoxious fuckhead. Stop it.
You already knew Kosho's asking yes question. Yes, you're right. Kosho wants validation. Yes, you're right.
Simply making Blue aware of a conversation that was entirely about
you're correct.
That he
I knew that. Yes, I knew that, Blue. Yes. So, Kosho, yes. Every question, yes. You're right. Yes.
You gotta stop doing that, man.
But right now,
we're
trying to figure out if
there was a 2-hour conversation about Blue.
It's not me, Brian. You see, if people are over talking me, it looks like I'm getting excited.
Chemo, you've got to stop. You're not actually having a conversation, Chemo. You are going to spend minutes at a time just mocking people and taking little quips at people without allowing a conversation. That is the exact opposite of saying, "Oh, look, people are interrupting me." You were setting up a scenario where there are only two options. Either A, you will be interrupted for your bad behavior, or B, you will be allowed to continue to hold the microphone. It is a catch-22, and it's you being a cunt. Stop it.
Well, I mean, like I say, all I'm trying to do, ask and anyone who believes in the healing, we're on to Curvature said change it up a little bit from Curvature.
You know what, Kimo? I have a question for you. Do you acknowledge that your behavior has been exceptionally terrible today?
No, I wouldn't say so. Again, all I'm doing is trying to keep.
But you're not trying to be on point. You're trying to detract away from anything else that's not you. You say it's not about you. You continuously are making it about you today. Take a step back. Make it not about you. With some, let's say, Blue and Kosha, would you like to continue?
That's. I mean, I just wanted to make him aware of that. There's not much else about that conversation. It persisted for a very long time, and he made an effort the entire time to make it apparent that I was disagreeing with you. When I said clearly, I also described it as one reference frame, but he I don't even know how he said that I was saying two reference frames. I think he pulled up a quote or an article I posted 3 years ago, and somewhere in that quote it described comparing two different reference frames, the inertial and the non-inertial, and using that to describe Coriolis, and then claiming that I'm disagreeing with you. So I don't know, you might hear something like that, but yeah, I said basically what you had said.
Yeah, we're not disagreeing.
Oh my gosh. We could have
And
told
there's
you
no
that,
difference.
Blue.
There's no difference between what I said. Yeah, see, this is where it all started with an idiot like Nathan Oakley trying to say that Neil deGrasse Tyson said the Earth spun under the football. Sorry,
Brian, you see, this
That's
is not
just
a
wrong.
conversation when they're just going, yes, yes, I agree, yes, yes. Know the answer. What we're looking for.
That's not a conversation, is it?
That's not a conversation.
So, Kimo,
That's just
if you actually had your ears open instead of having your dick in them, you would have realized that Blue was about to give us the backstory on where this whole idea came from, and we were going to have an interesting conversation about it. Instead, you want to derail. Stop it.
He's not going to stop.
Yeah, it might be useful just to engage in a conversation at the points when people are done with their sentences or the points or whatever. I think conversation will go a lot better, Kimo.
Yeah, we can calm down Veach.
We can calm down Beach?
Definitely.
Alright, he probably definitely because you, dude.
Constant chaos.
Did you listen at all to the show yesterday? Oh, the show that we're talking about. I guess you're not really part of this conversation, but we were talking about the Nathan the QE and the reference frames and all this.
You carry.
Kimo, I have a suspicion, okay? And this is going to sound like I'm paranoid. But you kind of give me evidence that it's true. It would seem to me that you've been tasked to get specifically Scott riled up about whatever. And now that he's deafened, you have almost no fervor or energy to antagonize this conversation.
Agonize.
Well, see, Kimo, what it sounds like is that you're attempting to chase people out of the room, and specific people, which you've done before.
I wouldn't even say that. I think it's for some sort of numpty clips.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, that's why God gave us a brain, mind to.
That's why God gave us those brains. But I do think, because you're being very aggressive with Scott earlier, asking him really weird, annoying questions, knowing that he would try to answer.
Come across.